Welcome to the Reality Check podcast. This is Big Mike.
And motherfucking Aaron.
And we are here to tell you the real shit. Today we're going to talk about a little bit of black nobility. We're both... What's that?
And this is, what is this, episode numero dos for all you Chinese people out there listening.
That's right. Number 2. And those are for the people that don't know Spanish.
Yes. Speaking of number 2.
Oh, God. You got to go?
I will hold it. I can hold it for an hour or so.
So what's going on? Did you catch the stuff that happened this week? It's a pretty crazy week altogether.
It was a horrible week. You know why it was a horrible week?
Why is that?
Well, let me tell you. First off, it's the LA Rams and New England Patriots going to the Super Bowl.
That is god awful.
I don't even know how I'm going to watch this, but I think as of late, this whole week, right, I'm going to put the daily story on like Snapchat, Instagram. I'm going to put a story every day leading up to the Super Bowl. Me secretly rooting for the Patriots just to grind everybody's gears because nobody likes the Patriots.
What's your Instagram for everybody?
My Instagram, it is Aaron425360. It is AARON 425360. And
did we lose you for a second? You there?
Yeah.
Okay. You said and it kind of cut off.
Oh, okay. Well, my Instagram handle is AARON425360. It's a Mexican-looking feller. You can't miss him.
All right. Cool. Yeah, I'm definitely going for the Rams. I got to do it.
Oh, God.
I'm upset about it, but, I can't go for the Patriots. I can't go for Brady winning another one. I'll just
I don't know.
have to slip my wrist or something, you know?
I was just telling somebody earlier, I was like, I hope the Patriots win. You know what? I hope they deflate the balls by at least 3 pounds instead of 2 pounds this time, just to make it more fair. because I do not like the LA Rams. Because this is how I see it, right? Our team is Seattle. So it's either Seattle representing the NFC or it's nobody. Because I'm not going to root for anybody else that's in the NFC. Only NFC team I'm going to root for is Seattle. So if it's AFC, I know it's sexist to the Patriots. I was hoping the Chiefs would pull it out. But it's Seattle or nobody in the NFC. So in which result, I have to go for the New England Patriots this Sunday.
Dude, I'd be the same way if it wasn't Tom Brady New England Patriots. If it was any other team, I'd be going for that team. But I cannot do Tom Brady winning more championships than anybody else.
Dude, did you even see the video of Tom Brady? He recorded himself, right? Just walking down the locker room, leaving the stadium with Gronk right there. And they're both just smirking, not saying anything. They're just smiling.
You know what, dude? I think that's an old video. That's what I heard. I heard it was from like when Gronk was younger, when he was first on the team, when they won the Super Bowl.
Oh, okay. I wasn't too sure because Gronk was wearing like the AFC Champions gear, but because who knows? They won so many. It could be one of the older ones.
I mean, Tom Brady looks younger in the video, so. But then, dude, one of the Patriot fan guys was like, "That's from I don't know, 6 years ago or whatever it was," you know. And I mean, they looked younger, so it's possible. But I mean, does Tom Brady really age? He kind of looks the same.
No, he's the GOAT. The GOAT never ages.
I know, it's fucking it's disappointing,
you know what?
Man.
You know, it's disappointing. I'm kind of disgusted at myself for the sound of me rooting for the Patriots and saying Tom Brady's the GOAT.
I mean, let's be realistic here. I mean, who's better? You know what I mean? Like statistically, who's better? Drew Brees, maybe.
Oh, as far as quarterback wise.
Yeah, I mean, just all around, clutch, um, you know, putting up the numbers. He started late, of course, so he's a little behind everybody, but putting up numbers, winning championships. I mean, the dude pretty much does it all. He always has.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I definitely agree there. Who's well on their way there doing that, though, is Russell Wilson with his postseason numbers as far as victory-wise in his young career.
Russell's like when I play in Madden, Like I might not put up the yardage throwing, but at the end of the game, he's got 4 touchdowns, threw for like 180 yards. His completion percentage was in the 120s at least. He has one of the highest completion percentages in his years that he's played.
Oh yeah, he's a fucking beast.
He's got the most wins by a quarterback. I mean, he has a lot of statistics like that you would have at the end of Madden if you weren't like blowing teams out like 50 something or whatever. You actually played it on a hard level. He's got a lot of statistics that you'd have on Madden.
Oh yeah, but he's out there like he's. I was gonna say he's out there playing on Bobby mode.
Let it rip, homeboy. So what's up with the Royal Rumble? How'd you feel about that shit?
It was hard to kind of stomach and watch it because I was streaming it for free. I'm too cheap to pay to watch any pay-per-views. So there was at times it was glitching about every 10 seconds, and I just got fed up with it. So me and my brother streamed it on a phone, and it streamed perfectly after that. But throughout the most part, it was kind of a snooze fest up until like about the last 5 minutes of the men's Royal Rumble. Then I found it pretty entertaining from there. But throughout the duration of the 7-hour pay-per-view that they ran, I was just like, this is too much wrestling.
Yeah, no shit. Fuck, that was a lot of wrestling, man.
Think about it. They started at 2 p.m. and it ended about 9:30ish, almost 10, somewhere around there.
Yeah, that's insane.
Yeah, I was exhausted after that.
Yeah, I didn't even watch the first cut. Like, I missed the Rusev Shinsuke match. I missed they had some fucking tag team match I was coming on.
You didn't miss much, I'll let you know that, because I didn't even watch that shit. I watched the highlights of it. I kind of glimpsed at it here and there, but everything on that pay-per-view was just kind of stale. I was hoping for Kenny Omega from New Japan to hopefully be an entry, but I think it was more of a display of like the younger NXT stars to kind of get them as a more of a household name to like only the WWE viewers, not NXT viewers. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think they used that pay-per-view to kind of slide them into the picture and try to build future stars from there.
I do like that they put Andrade, Cien.
Oh, yeah. My favorite Mexican wrestler.
Hell yeah. They left him in there till the end, or towards the end. That was cool. I was like, come on, Cien. At one point, I'm just, going for him. But I knew he wasn't. Hyped. I knew he wasn't going to win, but, man, I secretly was rooting for him. Actually, it wasn't too secret. I was pretty loud about it.
I was pretty adamant about him. Hopefully he would win as well, too. But the whole time I was rooting for Seth Rollins.
Dude, I'm happy with that. That's like the best thing that happened at pay-per-view. The girls' pay-per-view Rumble was fucking terrible. How does Becky Lynch, that lost the title earlier in the night, got tapped out, mind you, come back in there and get a shot at the title again? Like, she's already getting shots at the title. Like, she don't need these. You give these to stars that aren't really in the picture. You know what I mean? You don't give them to somebody that's already there.
This is terrible booking, terrible storyline writing, and I don't know. It's hard to watch at times.
And is it me? But that fucking man Becky Lynch bullshit. That what is that, dude? Why does everybody like that shit?
I have no idea, cause like they call her the man, but she's a woman, right? So is she like the transgender man, or what? What I don't kind of don't get. I kind of get it, but I think it's kind of just kind of stale, kind of bleh.
She's trying to be Ric Flair, dude. That's really what's going on.
Oh yeah, because because it's so original to call yourself the man.
Exactly, yeah. But they're eating it up, dude. The fucking crowd is eating it up.
Well, if it sells merchandise, I can understand that. And if she's getting over with the crowd, I understand that part. As far as me, I'm just a salty hater, and I don't like it.
Dude, any shirt that says the man and it's black with white letters on it, it's gonna sell.
Oh yeah.
You know how it is in wrestling. If you sell merchandise that's black and white, that's why all their shit's black and white. If you sell merchandise that's black and white, your shit's gonna sell.
Oh yes, for sure, for sure.
Yeah, did you see that? Did you see that tag match between Miz and fucking Shane McMahon?
I saw a quick clip of that. I didn't watch the whole duration of it because that's when the live stream started to glitch.
Yeah.
But I caught the end of it where Shane McMahon did that. That was pretty impressive. I was like, what the fuck? Because like Shane McMahon, he's a 50-year-old man, and for him to be doing like jumping forward backflips like that at his age, I thought was pretty cool.
Yeah, he is a crazy dude, man. That's one thing he's got going for him. He's super crazy.
He's gonna hurt himself one of these days.
Shit, he probably has. That's if you notice, he don't wrestle, but like at pay-per-views. I don't know though. He's a tag champ now. He's got to go defend his belts and shit. You know what I mean?
Him and the Miz. I don't know. Like, I think I'm gonna be stuck on NXT here for a little bit. But as far as SmackDown, I'll watch it for Andrade and for Daniel Bryan and for Robbie for Seth Rollins. But other than that, the rest of the storylines they got going on is just it's too repetitive, So
Yeah, I don't know what they're doing with Braun. It ain't making no sense to me.
it's like I said, it's poor booking and poor storyline writing. But to shift gears a little bit, the former pro WWE wrestler Jack Swagger, he made his MMA Bellator debut this past Saturday. And I think it was perfect matchmaking on Bellator for him. They paired him up against a man that makes Philly cheesesteaks for a living with minimal MMA experience. And I think that's perfect for Jack Swagger. If you guys are not familiar with Jack Swagger, his real name is Jake Hager, but in the pro wrestling world, he goes by Jack Swagger. But for you guys that do not know about him, he is a former 2-time All-American College Division I wrestler, and he happened to beat Cain Velasquez twice in college. And Cain Velasquez is one of the greatest UFC heavyweights of all time. So, Jake Hager, he looked really good on Saturday. Even though he beat up a bum, I think it was the right move by Bellator to make him fight a low-level experienced guy just to get Jake Hager's feet wet in the MMA world, because his takedowns look good. He's a big heavyweight. He's solid. He's like 6'5", 240, athletic as hell, great wrestling, can cut a good promo. So I'm looking forward to see what he does in the near future with Bellator.
Yeah, and he finished a dude, choked that motherfucker out, didn't he?
Oh yeah, he took him down. He ate a punch. He took a nice clean uppercut straight to the dome. But after that, he took dude down, beat him up, threw some vicious elbows, and pretty much had his way with him on the ground and just choked him out. And that was a wrap. First round submission.
Yeah, Jack Swagger doesn't seem like a punk to me. You know what I mean? He's always seemed pretty tough.
Oh yeah, he's a tough dude. Yeah, he's definitely not like CM Punk that tried to do UFC or anything like that. I mean, see, CM Punk, that was just. I felt that was probably a publicity stunt, or CM Punk was just high on crack for him with no MMA experience or martial arts experience to go try to fight somebody.
Yeah, that and he should have started off low level if he's gonna do that shit. Like not
Yeah,
UFC. He should have fought like in Chicago's local little bar league or whatever.
yeah. I remember I kept seeing rumors before he joined the UFC. They were talking about him fighting a ham sandwich. Somebody's like, "What's the over under on the ham sandwich?" One guy's like, "I got the ham sandwich favored by -200."
The ham sandwich might win. It might give him a tummy ache.
That had me dying so hard.
That's a funny
I
one.
mean, you gotta put yourself in CM Punk's position when you see something like that. You're like, damn, am I just not that good? Or, God, I would feel horrible. I would go hide my face from the world if I saw some shit like that, or just delete my social media so I wouldn't have to look at stuff like that on a daily basis.
That was before his first match ever.
Yeah.
Oh my god, that's embarrassing.
uh,
So what was the
and
other
also,
match? The good one in Bellator? He knocked him out, right?
yeah, the main event was
Bader.
finally a year later. They started a year ago, last January. They announced a heavyweight Bellator tournament to crown the new champion of the heavyweight division. And they started out with like Rampage, Chael Sonnen, Matt Mitrione. There was a few Big Country, but eventually it came down to Ryan Bader and MMA legend Fedor Emelianenko, and they fought last Saturday. And Ryan Bader came out there and just put Fedor to sleep in like 20 seconds, if I had to guess, if I remember.
Damn.
I think it was the first punch that he threw. It was like a leaping like left hook / jab, and just dropped him. And I think that just shows right there how, just the wear and tear, as you get older as a fighter, you just can't take a punch like how you did when you're 20 years old or whatever. So I think from here, Fedor, he has nothing left to prove. He was one of the greatest heavyweights of all time. So I think he's gonna call it a career after last Saturday's performance.
It's probably a good idea. I mean, what is he, 45?
I think so. Yeah, absolutely. But man, credit to Bader though, because from him fighting in the UFC, winning the Ultimate Fighter back in like 2009, and coming close to winning a title shot, and just fighting, all the upper echelon of top fighters in UFC like John Jones, Machida, Little Nog, and Rampage. Who's who list of UFC fighters. But he looks good now, man. He looks really good, especially at heavyweight. He looks a lot more stronger, a lot more faster, surprisingly. So he's the double champ in Bellator right now.
I mean, that's the thing with Bellator too, especially like the heavyweight area. There's not very much competition,
No, it's very limited. I mean, when you're throwing Chael Sonnen into the heavyweight division, that just speaks for itself right there.
That's your boy.
Hey, I like Chael. I like listening to his podcast. I like listening to him speak. I like watching his build up to the fight, but ultimately I know he'll lose. So, but I'm a fan of his. But that just, like you said, that just shows how weak and limited that division is. I mean, they're throwing a 185er up in the heavyweight division.
Yeah, that's crazy. I'm surprised he took it. I guess he was just trying to get some belts. You know.
Well, it was his last shot because he couldn't get it done in UFC against Silva twice. He couldn't get it done at 205 in Bellator. So he didn't really have many options from there when you can't win it in Bellator. The second level in MMA, the second company in MMA to UFC. And so his only option was the heavyweight tournament, and couldn't get it done.
Yeah. I think that's pretty much what's crazy that happened this week.
I think it's safe to say, wave football is starting to come to an end here, and not much UFC going on. It's safe to say that's what the week looked like so far. So what else you got?
All right, dude, you ready to go deep, homeboy?
I'm ready to go balls deep, son.
We're going deep. All right, we're talking about black nobility. Now, I just like to put out a little thing saying that I might butcher these names a little bit. It's a lot of Italian, European stuff going on in there. What's that?
What was that?
Oh, I was saying there's a lot of. I said I might butcher these names. There's a lot of Italian.
Italian?
Yeah.
You mean Italian?
Oh, whatever. I say Italian.
You're right. Not to get off course, but that reminds me of The Simpsons. He's like, "You filthy Italians."
That's my ghetto slang, man. We all talk. We talk that country bumpkin shit like Theo Vaughn. Just some of that ghetto trash,
All right, I didn't mean to get you off course.
No, it's all good. It's funny. I'm like I said, I'm gonna pronunciate some shit wrong. Just FYI. All right, so this conspiracy theory is like the conspiracy theories of all conspiracy theories. I think it kind of gives a root or like a synopsis of what happens prior to like Illuminati and all them guys, and how these people, part of the black nobility, have created the society that we live in today. A lot of them secretly, and they use people like the Rockefellers and what is it, J.P. Morgan and them guys as like pawns or like name recognition type people, while the other ones hide behind these people, making money off of us, and ultimately trying to get rid of our population. So I don't know if you got. I just put Aaron onto this, so he's kind of new to the whole thing. I'm pretty new to it too, but I found it very interesting because guess what? It's just something that isn't talked about and nobody knows much about. In fact, did you know when I sent you Black Nobility? Did you know what I was talking about, Aaron?
To be honest, I thought you said black ability. So when you said black ability, I'm like, or black agility. I was like, well, not to be stereotypical or racist, I was thinking of like a Nike commercial of this black guy running really fast. So I was like, oh God. I was like, I'm pretty sure that's not what he's talking about. But I was like, well, I'm just going to say, what is it, Mike? But I did look into it myself. And I did go down the rabbit hole of watching that video, and it was really like a crash course because it had so much information you got like for me to like internalize and remember. And I think that video, it was narrated by like a computer animation voice, so that didn't really help either though. But I did understand the gist of it. But I think I would have understood it even more if it was like narrated by like Morgan Freeman or something like that.
That would have definitely been ideal. But they have the computer voice YouTube shit on there for some reason. Like somebody can't just do it themselves in their own voice. But But yeah, maybe I can help you out a little bit, and you can understand it after we talk about it a little bit. I encourage anybody listening to this to go ahead and look into it themselves, and anything that we put out here. I'd like you guys to all go look at it yourselves. I'm just throwing stuff out here for you guys to look at, just interesting things that I come across, conspiracy theory wise or otherwise, and Aaron will do the same thing throughout all of our podcasts that we do. But I definitely encourage everybody listening to go ahead and look into this stuff yourself, because it's rabbit hole worthy. I'll tell you that.
Oh, yes.
All right, so we're going to start off the ancient history of black nobility. So Rome attacked Carthage in full force beginning in 264 BC. So this happened even before Christ, and completed their task after killing and enslaving the Carthaginians. I probably said that wrong, but by sowing the land. By sowing the land with salt. So they spread salt over the land so nothing could grow there again. The Edomites descended from Asu, later intermarried with the Turks to produce the Turco-Edomite mixture, which later became known as the Czars. So I've heard of the Czars before. I'm sure you've heard of the Czars before, correct?
Yes, I have.
So that's a familiar name.
Yes, it is.
Who are present occupants of Israel. These Canaanites eventually adopted the name Sepharvaim, probably butchered it, for deceptive purposes. They later became known as Venetians, so basically people from Italy, by marrying into European royalty and aristocracy. Aristocracy. It has a Y at the end. And it says AKA the black nobility. So these European royal families were known as black nobility people. So that's where the word comes from. The Venetians today control the Federal Reserve System in the U.S. So these people that are part of this black nobility, they're currently controlling the money that America makes.
And which is crazy because, like, when you think about who even controls our money, you would just think, like, oh, our government does or our banking system does. But, like, that's what I think. That's what comes to mind. But when you talk about some like, almost like secret society or, like, some type of, like, Freemasonry type thing, like, you wouldn't think that they control our money, which is kind of weird that they do.
Oh, dude, it's a known fact. You can go look it up. The Federal Reserve is not part of the federal government. They're a separate entity that makes money. In fact, Trump they just had it like maybe 2 weeks ago. Trump was questioning whether he could fire the guy from the Federal Reserve. And yeah, and they announced it on the news. And then the Federal Reserve guy goes on the news and he goes, he cannot fire me. He has no jurisdiction over me. Now isn't that fucking crazy?
Oh yeah, shot caller Trump. He's like, yeah, hey, you're fired.
Pretty much, and he's like, fuck you. He's like, I do what I want, son. I run your country. What are you talking about?
Exactly. Trump's an idiot.
Yeah, he is. Anyways, around 1400 AD, European power centers said they basically got together into two camps. The Gelbadines, who were supported by emperors of the Hohenstaufen family, and the Guelphs, from the wealth and the German prince who competed with Frederick for control of the Holy Roman Empire. The Pope himself, so the one we're talking about today, aligned himself with the Guelphs. A modern history stems directly from the struggle between the two powers. So basically what happened was these two powers fought each other. Let's see. The Guelphs are also called the Black Guelphs, or Black Nobility, and supported William of Orange with the seizure of the throne of England, which eventually resulted in the formation of the Bank of England and the East India Company, which I'm assuming is the Bank of India, which would rule over the world from the 17th century. All coups d'etats, revolutions, and wars through the 19th and 20th centuries are centered in the Battle of the Gulfs, who hold and enhance their power, which is now known as the New World Order. The power of the Gulfs would extend through the Italian financial centers to the north of France. So they took over England, took over Italy, they took over France, all their money. Lombard, it said Italian bankers were also referred to as Lombards. Lombard in German means a deposit bank. And the Lombards were bankers to the entire medieval world. So these motherfuckers took everything over financially in the 17th century, 1400 AD.
Damn, son.
They were ahead of the game, huh? Seems like they're time travelers or something. Like, we're just gonna.
It's kind of crazy to think, cause like, so from what I kind of like gathered, that this was more of like the first type of like brother in arms secret society before like Illuminati started, before the Freemasons, and before like Skull and Bones and stuff.
Yeah, I think what happened was these guys started running shit, and then they incorporated like things like Freemasons into their societies, because there's more on it down here where it talks about how Illuminati and Freemasons are a part of that whole situation.
Oh, okay.
So I mean, it lays it out pretty good, historical wise. Let's see. Where was I? Oh, the Gulfs. These people would start slave trade colonies. So they're the first person to start financially trading slaves.
Oof. Dirty bastards.
Obviously, the slave trade was prosperous because you're making people work for free and you're reaping in all the benefits, so people wanted slaves. And so it aided in their control of the finance and politics even more. These people, these Gulfs, eventually developed into the Rosicrucians, the Unitarians, the Fabian Society, and the World Council of Churches. Let's see. The banks, large and small in the thousands, are in the committee of the 300 network. And there's there's a link. You can go see all the 300, but a couple of them. Let's see if there's any. The Netherlands Bank, the Barclays Bank, which is the Barclays Center.
Okay.
Yeah. Banco de Colombia, Banco Iberoamerica, Banco Privata, whatever. Of these special interests is the Bank della Sicurezza Italiana.
Aha, you killed it.
Which handles flight capital investments to and from the United States, primarily in dollars and U.S. bonds. Located and isolated in neutral Lugano, the flight capital center for the Venetian black nobility. So these motherfuckers control flight money. Basically,
they control quite a bit, because, like, not to get you sidetracked of what you're reading right now, but if you can Google the black nobility, right, you can look it up, and they're obviously a part of this beast system, the secret societies. And you'll find a pyramid that says the black nobility, and it works its way from the top all the way down, from population workers to world population control to world resource control to world financial control. And the Committee of 300, that's the world's richest, most powerful subfamilies. Right above that, the Crown Council of 13. and top of that, world monarch, and the top of that is the all-seeing eye. And apparently, the all-seeing eye is the quote-unquote eye of Lucifer.
Right, yeah,
So
that's the setup on the pyramid, yeah. So they're way up
pretty
there, dude.
interesting. These guys are like super elite. Then it sounds like.
Right, and that's why I wanted to come out and, I mean, we're hitting them hard with this episode, man, because this is some shit that isn't talked about. It's not, nobody talks about it, and nobody exposes this part of it, which is kind of crazy because we're kind of one of the only people to do this kind of podcast on this.
Well, to really look into it, because like it seems like, because this is new to me, the black nobility. I mean, I've heard of like Illuminati, Freemasonry, and like Skull and Bones, like I've been saying. But it seems like black nobility, they got their hands in all like the departments of what we know as corporations in life and entertainment. It looks like.
Yeah, they run this shit, son. The whole thing.
Jeez.
There's a guy's telling Illuminati what the fuck to do.
That's really eye opening, to be honest.
Right.
It is,
when I heard here's a name drop, you know. I heard when I first heard about this, I heard about this from Sam Tripoli. He does a conspiracy podcast called Tinfoil Hat. He had a guy on there that was very knowledgeable about the this whole thing, and they were dropping some shit that I was like, whoa, I gotta go check into this. And apparently a lot of people don't want to talk about it. I don't know why, but and he said the same thing. But maybe I think maybe people aren't very they don't know enough about it to go into it into detail, especially like that guy did. But
well, because it's not going to be caught up in your mainstream news of like CNN or Fox or
no way. This shit.
Your
Never.
news feed of it's not going to pop up on your local news or anything. You kind of have to do the research yourself for information like this, and it's pretty crazy because I'm looking at it and it says, the world's population control, and it has, the governments, the intelligence community, military, police, courts, and prisons, schools, and they got their hand in religion as Christianity, Buddhism, and just everything. Disney, Viacom, General Electric, all the oil companies, all the gas stations, even ExxonMobil, Shell, IBM, DuPont, and Toyota, central banks, tax revenue, interest revenue, and Jesus. And it also says, the black nobility, the royal houses of Europe, that ruthlessly eliminates all that dare to stand in their way, son.
It's crazy. Super crazy.
Basically, they clack that ass if you try basically just, paint them in the wrong light. They'll have you suicided, what it sounds like.
Dude, check this shit out. Like in 1822, the Treaty of Verona, they had something called the Treaty of Verona between Austria, France, Perugia, and Russia. The Jesuits agreed to smash the U.S. Constitution and suppress the freedom of the U.S. Their methods included destroying free speech, destroying and suppressing the press, universal censorship, sustaining the cooperation of the Pope and clergy to use religion to help keep nations in passive obedience, and financing wars against countries with representative governments. Dude, what's going on right now?
Some shady business.
All that shit. All that shit's going on right now. And they signed this, they literally signed a treaty. So like I said, everybody go look into this. The Treaty of Verona. And go check it out. Because this is obviously public knowledge that can be seen that these people looked into doing this. And the funny thing is we have Jesuits schools in the United States right now where people go there.
Oh, like a Gonzaga.
Like Gonzaga, yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy, dude. It says monarchs who signed this treaty were ultimately disposed. Most of these families are very wealthy and may be more powerful today than when they sat upon thrones. They're known collectively as the Black Nobility. Privately, these families refused to recognize any right to rule except their own. So basically, they were kings and queens and shit. They dissolved, so they weren't in the public eye, and then they still ruled the world, but from like the background. So everybody that's up in the front, they're all just figureheads, a lower rung of the totem pole. You know what I mean?
I see. Okay.
Let's see. According to former British intelligence agent Dr. John Coleman. So like I said, look it up, people. The three world groups are the Wicca Masons, i.e. communism, the Maltese Jesuits, and the Black Nobility. They all work together under the central command of the Bavarian Illuminati, which binds them together. Bavarians created the Bilderberg Society for this purpose, the core of which is a council of 13 members from each of these three groups, or 39 in all. The old line ruling families who believe that they have the right to rule the world because they are descended from empires of the ancient Romans and so-called Roman empires. They call themselves the Blue Bloods. And these families are the Rothschilds, the Coons, the Loebs, the Lehmans, Rockefeller, Sach, Warburg, Lazard, Sif, Goldman, Schiff, Morgan, Schroeder, Bush, and Harriman.
Damn. Some familiar names in there, man.
Right, yeah.
There's a lot of familiar names in there.
Yeah, Goldman Sachs. That's the. I think I said it wrong. It was SACH, so that's what they do. The Goldman Sachs. Lehman is like I've heard that name. Rothschild and Rockefeller, of course. Warburg. Goldman. Goldman and Sachs must have got together and combined their name, huh?
Well, the one that really sticks out is Bush, right?
Oh yeah, dude. We can do a whole thing on the Bush family on a later episode.
Yeah, I would definitely like to dive into that. That's kind of interesting.
Or should I say the organized crime Bush family?
Oh yeah.
That's how much detail I got, homeboy.
Were they slinging that booger sugar?
They were slinging a lot of shit. But yeah.
Oh yeah, they're slinging all that.
His fucking I'll tell you a little bit about it real quick. Prescott Bush, he financed the Nazis.
Really?
He literally he was the banker for the Nazi party.
Why was he banking the Nazis for?
He was backing them with cash to fund their war.
Oh.
He's straight up Nazi, son.
Jeez.
And the fucked up part about it is his son fought. His son fought for the United States against the Germans that he was financing. Ain't that some shit?
Jeez, and his not too distant relative was the president of the U.S. here.
No, the son that fought George Bush, the first one. He was the one.
The first one. Okay, I had it mixed up. Okay, I see.
Yeah, so it goes Prescott, George, and George, and then Prescott's their George Jr.'s grandfather, and so when George was fighting in the war, he was funding the German. His dad was funding the Germans to fight against him and his son.
Damn. That is ridiculous, man. What a fucking loony ass world this is, you know?
Oh, they're fucked up, dude. There's like a lot of crazy shit that they put their kids through torture. It's a whole other episode, but we can go into it some other time. I got shit for days on them, and I got shit on the Clinton crime family too. So we can go over all that at a later time. It'll take an episode to go over that shit.
I think so too, because I also have some shit on them. George Junior and Senior, of them being the Skull and Bones Society, and the Skull and Bones Society is the ones that do the cum coffins.
Yeah, that's what I hear.
So if anybody's mouth is watering hearing cum coffins, maybe on the next episode we'll dive into that.
Oh, George Bush Senior loves all that ass. He just can't stop grabbing girls' asses. So he's not gay.
Oh yeah,
he's not gay at all. All right.
Not at all. For another man that wears a robe and comes on other dudes and comes on other women, he's not gay.
You know what I heard is Prescott Bush was the craziest one of them all.
Really?
That's the rumor. Yeah.
How so?
He was just fucking insane. He was a crazy ass dude off his rocker, and he scared other people in the Skull and Bones Society. He scared them.
He kind of just twisted their arm and give him no other choice but to join or else.
He was the one doing like cum coffins with his mouth open, just ready to get the loads. He was the crazy one, dude. He's like, let's do this, but like on the guy's butt.
let's toss this hunk of gravy up in that ass.
He was the crazy one, He take it to the next level type thing.
He's coming up with the innovative, freaky ideas.
Right.
He's like, now I want you, boy, to spread eagle this time. Oh my God. For as much as, all these higher elites, secret societies controlling the world, from all the shit that they have to do to get initiated and everything, it just doesn't seem like it's worth it, for all the riches and easy life that they get,
Well, what they do is they keep their bloodlines intact. So what they do is like they torture and beat their kids to obey their way of doing things, like on the way up. Like they do shit to them, like put them in situations where, they don't want to actually do something, but they make them do it, type deal.
Uh-huh.
And, like beat the shit out of them when they're growing up and, just crazy stuff like that. And so they become desensitized to human beings and shit like that, So, like, they're already fucked up in the head by when they become adults because of what their parents did to them. It's kind of like a kid that gets abused, and he just takes it from his abuser, and then he turns around and abuses somebody else when he's older. That kind of thought process.
Okay, I see. Okay. Jeez, that's some heavy shit there, man.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy, but apparently these guys' ultimate goal, is to whittle the population down. They feel like, if we don't do what they say, then they're gonna kill us all off. Is basically what they think, and they think that they're better than everybody else, and they run everything else, and they've been told that their whole lives, so they 100% believe it.
So basically, there's no way of even fighting this, huh?
No, they got their hands in it way too much already, dude. I don't see any way you could fight this shit. They, like you said, you went over what they are in control of. That's pretty much everything, dude.
Yeah, it covers all the baselines, all the checkpoints,
Right.
It's the world we live in, I guess,
Yeah. I mean, what do you do? We all know that this world isn't ruled by a positive influence. It's ruled by negativity and bad people, and it just keeps getting worse and worse as we go. And I mean, it was prophesized that it was supposed to be that way, if you believe the Christian religion, you know. But yeah, I mean, it's playing right into what I was always told growing up. Um, but all you can really do is live your life, try to treat people as well as you can, use common sense. You know, don't let people control you. Media wise, that's why I tell everybody to look into this stuff. I don't want to control nobody. I don't want anybody to be controlled. So they should all have their own opinions about, you know, stuff that they believe in. You know, don't let somebody else tell you your opinion. You know.
No, absolutely not.
I think that's the problem with a lot of like older people nowadays. But what do you do?
I agree, especially when it comes to the opinion of Donald Trump.
Yeah, that guy's crazy, and he acts like a little child, which is the funniest part. And like, you know, he just does some dumb shit. That's all he wants to do. All he wants to do is dumb shit all the time. You know.
I don't get it. I don't get how he just. It's just really crazy to see. Like, I'll see CNN, and the whole 24/7 of CNN running is somehow shaming Donald Trump. You know.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, everybody is except for the Fox News. They're all over his nuts.
Like I said, like, I don't know, because from what I read a little article about how Donald Trump is tied into Freemasonry. Or he's tied into some secret society, right? That's the same bloodline of, I believe, Hillary Clinton, I think it was. It was the Clintons. Like, they have somehow, there's some type of kissing cousins along their bloodline. And basically, if he's tied in with, say if he is, right? I mean, I'm probably wrong, and maybe it was a false, maybe it was fake news that I read. How about that? And Donald Trump, right? Say if he is tied in Freemasonry or some secret society, and this whole election thing, I believe personally, this is my opinion only, that it's all rigged and fixed. We're all made to believe that we're going to vote for this person and they're going to be in office, right? I think we do that, but I think they select who's put in office. I think they select, they're groomed for that position. They're groomed, for that position. Then it splits a divide between the country. There's people that support this person, and there's people that are anti this person. And I think that's exactly what, you know, the elite wants. They want division between you know, the American public, because if we all rose together as one, truly one nation, you know, on one opinion, and became united, I think we would be a lot stronger as a nation, as our voice would be a lot stronger. But I don't think that will ever happen, because, you know, the elite controls this nation, and I don't think that will ever happen.
Well, it's crazy because realistically, it actually is happening a little bit across the world. You got places like Europe and the UK and stuff that they're starting to think logically about things, and you know, they're kind of on this. Most people are on the same page about what should happen, what should go on, and stuff. So they've woken up a little bit, because that's not how it used to be. But like for some reason, America has went in the opposite direction, and they are dividing more than ever over the years as it goes. And I think it's like this sense of like American pride that kind of makes it that way. But like, we're not going to be like them, you know, that kind of thing. And so
Yes.
like they look at Europe like, oh, you guys are a bunch of fucking lily sissies or whatever, you know. But in reality, I mean, they're working on free education. They're working on free healthcare. They're looking at changing their education system. because the current one's broke. Um, if you ever listen to Killer Mike, he had a good statement on it. He has a good thing on it. In fact, I recommend watching the Netflix. Don't know what it's called, but Killer Mike's new show on Netflix. It's eye opening, and it kind of explains what I'm going into. But the system is broke, and we got all these, and especially in America, we have all these kids that are thinking that they're all gonna be the president. They're all gonna be actors. They're all gonna be like these crazy positions that only 1% or 2% of the population ever become. And when it comes to president, it's like, I mean, you're pre-selected, like you said. So you'd probably know by the time you're 15 whether you're going to be president or not. And everybody else has no shot, And so we need to revamp it. And there's a lot of things like that. You have to revamp the current state of things, or they won't change. We need to train people how to get a skill in a trade, and how to fix things and put things together. I mean, that's what people are looking for in society. They're not looking for an astronaut. There's only so many astronauts, and so only a select few, and you'll know that once you're that age. You're older, whether you have a chance to be an astronaut or not. But when you're 5 years old, you shouldn't be shooting for it. And if you're a 30-year-old man that's been out in the world, you probably shouldn't be shooting for it either. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree. I definitely agree, man.
So then we have all these kids that go out in society. They think they're going to be some fucking hot shit, like a music producer or actor or whatever. And then they come to the realization that that's just never going to happen. Now, they need to come to the realization that's never going to happen way before they even get out of school and get into something that that is more likely to happen for them. So when they do get out of school, they're prepared. You know what I mean?
Yeah, go out and learn a trade. Go out and learn to build a house. Go out and learn to be a lawyer or a doctor or something of use.
But you don't start out as a doctor. That's my whole point. You don't start out as a lawyer. You don't start out as a doctor. You start out as a low-level person in those trades. You need to learn how to be a low-level person in those trades. Know what it takes to get there. Know what you have to do beforehand, before you can even become that. You know what I mean? It's good to have aspirations and high hopes, but you need to know where to start and where you need to start, and that you're not going to become it at 18 years old when you get out of school.
Yeah, no, I hear you. I see your point.
And that's the kind of stuff I'm talking about. It's just like you got to revamp the whole thing, and especially America. America's got a lot of problems. Europe's looking into these things. They're using their common sense on certain issues. I mean, they pretty much are de-armed. I don't really agree with that. I guess it's my American.
That'd be hard to de-arm America.
True.
I mean, good luck with that. Isn't Donald Trump's trying to push that, right?
Yeah, I mean, no, I don't think Donald Trump is, because then all the Republicans would hate him. But the people around him, the way left Democratic people, they're trying to push that, and
okay.
And they do it with these school shootings. Every time there's a school shooting, they're like, "Oh God, we got to get rid of the guns." And I mean, I do believe to put regulations on them, for sure. Like getting them, you should be able to know how to clean it, take it apart, put it back together, shoot it accurately, gun safety. You should be able to teach your family the same stuff. And gun protection, how to protect it and put it up, and keep it away from other people, type deal. Those kind of things, I think, should be definitely because at this current state, you can just go buy a gun at an auction show with no training.
Yeah,
you can just get a gun, and that's fucking insane. But then you got all these people that are like, that's our right to get our guns.
Brother.
You know? So
you think Donald Trump would get assassinated?
Dude, I don't know. I think every assassination that that has been done or attempted in the United States on the United States presidents have all been inside jobs. So no, I don't think so unless it's an inside job type thing. You know,
You think he's gonna get food poisoned
from a fucking McDonald's hamburger?
It's actually kind of funny because I saw this interesting video. It's kind of more off topic, but not really. If you guys are familiar with The Simpsons, I know, kind of funny. Like, a lot of their early episodes throughout the 90s, kind of weird, man, because, like, they had this, I seen this, this DJ on the radio. He's interviewing Matt Groening, who created The Simpsons, and they're like, dude, are you a time traveler, man? Because you got some interesting shit in your cartoon episodes. Like, you've, like, basically predicted in the year 2000, you had Donald Trump, or a guy that, yeah, it was Donald Trump, actually, going down an escalator, saying he's the new president. And in 2015, you have the same image. Donald Trump is going down an escalator, waving his hand. You know, I was like, oh wow, it's like that caught my attention there. And they got all these other episodes on certain events that happened. Like, they got Donald Trump and some guy wearing like a turban type thing, and some other bald guy, their hand on this globe that's glowing, right, in the cartoon. Then X amount of years later, they got the same exact pic in real life with Donald Trump doing it with the guy that looks like the same guy in the cartoon and the same other guy in the cartoon. So I just kind of bring this up as, like, for people that, like, do not really like Donald Trump, there's another episode where he's laying in a coffin dead. So I don't know if that entails anything. I don't know if the creator of The Simpsons knows a guy that knows a guy to get, to throw these little what's the word for that, Mike? Is it
premonitions?
Premonitions, exactly, to future events. I just thought it was kind of interesting because they have many different little episodes that entails stuff from the future of events that happen, like 9/11, smartphones, or smartwatches, but mainly surrounding Donald Trump was the interesting little perk that stuck out of the Simpsons thing.
So they interviewed Matt Groening about it, and what did he say? He didn't say anything, or what?
He didn't really say much about it. It sounded like he kind of ducked around the questions. He kind of just, like, didn't really answer the question directly. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So kind of just, like, avoided it. So anyway, and people just kind of wrote it off as that. But you just have to YouTube it or Google search it. Matt Groening. They thought he was a time traveler. That's what they thought he was.
What did Donald Trump die of? He eating a cheeseburger? It didn't say. It just showed him in a coffin, or what?
He was eating dicks.
He's eating dicks.
He choked on dicks.
He's eating real dicks. He's eating a bunch of dicks in his mouth.
Yeah, and he's in a coffin, so I'm assuming he got cummed on too.
They're like, if you die, we come on your coffin on the way out.
It's graphic.
So do you? I never asked you, like, specific. I mean, we probably talked about it a little bit, but do you believe in time travel?
I do not.
I am skeptical about it. I mean, I think at one point, I think it might become possible. So therefore, there probably is.
I don't know. I'm really like skeptical about time travel. I just don't think. I think man can control a lot of things. I think man can control the weather. I think man can control people to think a certain way, or make them like something, or make them conditioned to think a certain way. Exactly. But I don't think they can control the actual physical part of time. I don't think they can go back to a certain year, and I don't think they can go forward than the actual present. I believe maybe somewhere, somebody off the rocks, right, seeking attention, possibly, or maybe they're put in a position by somebody else, like something in the elite, to think that, they do all these stories of these guys saying they're time travelers. They go to the future, and I don't know. It's really hard for me to believe that, that they say, "Hey, I'm from the future, and I can't tell you all these things, but I can tell you a few things."
Yeah, I don't really believe those guys too. I think it's kind of funny listening to them. It's entertaining for me.
It's intriguing for sure, because you want to hear them out, because everybody wants to hear about the future, right? If somebody knows about the future, then obviously they're going to tune in and check. But some parts in there, when you just, I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just me. You can kind of sense when somebody's like possibly lying to you, or bluffing or whatever. It's like at parts when a certain question is asked, it's hard to kind of believe them at times.
Yeah, they're all super sketchy, dude. Like, the people are asking them questions and stuff, and they're like, It's like, dude, if I was from the future, I'd be like, especially about my time, I would know a lot about it. You know what I mean? Did we lose you?
I lost you there for a second, man. What happened there?
I don't know. I was saying that about my time, I would know a shit ton about. So you'd be like, "Oh, what's going on?" And I could just tell you. You know what I mean? There wouldn't be no hesitation. Like, like a big event like Trump dying. I would know that happened and when it happened.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Without hesitation. I might be like, oh, he died in the year, I think it was 2020 and in August or something. And that's how I'd probably answer it, because it's the past. But I would know it pretty quickly. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
And I'd probably have it written down, because I would think that somebody's going to ask me that question so I can answer it right away. But that's why, like I said, they're super sketchy ass people. You know?
Yeah, so. I know what you mean. Have you seen any of those videos, like, where the, like, possible time travelers, like, I saw a picture, right, of I think it's a boxing event from, like, the 60s? I could be wrong. Could have been the early 90s. But I want to say it was a black and white photo. But this is around the time where they didn't even have, like, cell phones, really. They had the big block ones, if anything. But it appeared to be this guy in the crowd holding up, like, an iPhone and recording the fight, which I thought was kind of interesting.
Yeah, I saw that one. I saw a few. I saw a few from, that they had or whatever. I don't know. Mm-hmm. I mean, if I'm a time traveler, odds are you gotta hide. You can't just be out in plain sight. You know what I mean? Or let people know that you're doing it. I think
exactly.
There'd probably be huge consequences for doing it. Also, I've heard that, they can only go back and observe and shit. That's like a rumor. They're saying that the UFOs possibly might be time travelers. They'll come in, they'll look at an event, and then they'll go back. That's a theory. I don't know. I think I think it's gonna be possible one day. So therefore, there has to be time travelers because I think it'll be possible one day. Maybe they don't want to come back to this shithole. I don't know. Maybe time's more peaceful in the future. You know, I'm not going back there.
Yeah, I see.
But
I thought it was kind of interesting seeing like, did you see the story on like actors, like modern day actors, like Nicolas Cage and like Eddie Murphy and stuff, and they have like people from like the 1920s and the 1800s that look just like them. They were saying like they were like possibly Nicolas Cage is like a time traveler.
Yeah, I've heard that stuff. You know what I personally think it is?
What's that?
This comes from my my woo woo side. But, I think that they're either family members of these people, or they're reincarnations, past reincarnations of themselves. That's my personal thought on that. I think, like, you know, like for example, they got Jay-Z. They got a picture of Jay-Z, and he's in Brooklyn, and it's back in the turn of the century. It's probably his grandpa. You know what I mean? Just like a guy that looked exactly like him, had the same jeans, you know, and he at the same age, and he's chilling on the block or whatever. You know what I mean? That's what that's, or like I said, it's like it was him back then. You know, he got killed or died or whatever and came back. I don't know.
I mean, that's a spitting image of Jay-Z. I mean, I'm looking at it right now. That looks exactly like Hove.
I know. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
What was the Nicolas Cage one, I think? That one's like looks super like Nicolas Cage.
All of them, man. I mean, there's him, there's Keanu Reeves. I mean, he looks like from like a Shakespeare time.
Yeah.
But dude, it's like a spitting image of them, but just from obviously from another time.
Yeah, that's I don't know. I don't think they're vampires.
Oh hell no, vampires. I believe there is vampires, but not to the point of where like it's like the movies or anything. But more people that just practice whatever vampires practice and drink blood, whether it's from an animal or a human.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if there's vampires or not. I'm gonna lean on the side of not, but
Didn't you meet one when you were younger?
yeah.
What was that guy like?
Should I tell the story?
Yeah, he was just some weirdo dude.
So I met remember that drunk dude that used to come over, and he's my mom and dad's friend, or mom and Doug's, and he came over a couple times and he would like pass out. He was just drunk or whatever.
My dad? No, just kidding.
Very similar. You remember when you guys lit that firecracker off and blew something up, and then you like, I think you like hit the guy or something like that, and then the dude came over to the house.
Oh no, that was on Halloween, and we threw fireworks, right? We were throwing fireworks, and I think one of us threw it at him. Then he pulled out a metal object in which we thought was a knife, but it turns out it was a fork.
Yeah.
He ended up chasing us, but of course he's drunk off his ass, so we outran him like it was nothing because we're kids, the teenagers at the time. But we ended up coming back to your place at the end of the night on Halloween night, and then we see the guy passed out on the floor. We're like, what the fuck? This is the guy we just ran away from. What the hell is he doing here of all places,
Yeah, and of course my mom and Doug knows him.
What are the chances of that? What a coincidence.
Very, very huge chances. They're into the same things. But yeah, so So this dude's like, he's like, yeah, he's like, I know this, he's like, I know a vampire. We're like, get the fuck out of here. And he's like, yeah, I know a vampire. And so we're like, go take us to him. And so he's like, okay, I will. He's like, I'll take you guys over there right now. So we go, it's like me, Brian, and Bobby. So, I mean, one can't say anything about it, and then the other one's like, untrustworthy. But at least I was there, right? So, so, we go over there, and there's this old dude, and then he's like, whatever you say, don't say anything about his hand. And so we go in his house, his house, he doesn't really got much going on in there. Everything's kind of old looking and shit. He's got like this Victorian painting, it looks Victorian, of this lady in a white dress, and she's got a big ass picture. It's a big ass painting, on his wall in his living room. I don't even think the dude had a TV. He's just like a weird old guy, And he's got this fucking black glove on his like left hand, I think. And then Bobby, what's the first thing Bobby goes? He goes, hey, what happened to your hand? So the guy gets all fucking huffy puffy and shit and like storms out of the house, goes in the backyard and starts chopping a tree with a hatchet. So he's pissed off,
Yeah.
So then we start snooping, he's like out there like in his own little world. We started snooping around the dude's house, and we opened up his drawers in his I'm losing the word for it. The cabinets in the kitchen. And we go around looking at the cabinets in the kitchen, and he's got mason jars that are filled with like, I've seen like brains or whatever in a mason jar. So like, like brain looking stuff, like yellowish shit, in a mason jar with blood, like red around it. And he's got all these fucking mason jars, just like that's all he's got in his cabinets and shit. And so I'm like, what the fuck? And he's like, yeah. He goes, he drinks blood. The guy's like, yeah, he drinks blood. That's his blood, and he gets it from animals. So he goes and slaughters animals and shit, and then puts their blood in mason jars and like preserves it. And he's got like every cabinet was filled with mason jars with blood in it. So I mean, I don't know. But
so did he come back inside after he was done chopping wood?
Yeah, and he's calmed down a little bit. We obviously didn't say anything about the mason jars, trying to get the fuck out of there. But I mean, he had like a Victorian, like a Slavic accent, And the guy told us that he was the caretaker, of the like Dracula, like Dracula's castle or whatever. And then Dracula, before he died, he has to be bit by him and turn into a vampire. So that's what he did. That's
what I was told. This guy lived where in Everett?
He lived somewhere over by Airport Road.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Okay.
It wasn't too far away from the house. So, I don't know. This guy was either a mass murderer or he was an old mass murderer.
Or he's just smoked out of his mind. With the fucked up, gimpy, scary movie tube hand.
Take my strong hand.
My strong hand. I'm gonna go chop this wood over here. Don't touch my mason jars, please. Fucking smoker. I don't know. That's just probably, he probably supposedly didn't know Dracula, or just some fucking dude that wanted to French his neck and suck on his blood for a little bit. I don't know. If you're saying you knew Dracula and you happen to be living in Everett, I'm gonna find that very hard to believe.
No, I hear you too. He didn't say it, but the guy said it.
Oh, the drunk guy said it.
Yeah,
okay.
he didn't say shit about nothing. He wasn't like giving up. We'd ask him like little questions and stuff. He didn't want to tell us anything. You know, he's like, "What the fuck are these kids doing here?"
Okay, I see. Okay, jeez.
So, yeah, I don't know. I don't know about. I mean, it happened. That was real, but I don't know. You know, if he was Dracula, like Dracula's servant, whatever the fuck. He's drinking animals' blood for fun. I don't know what he's doing, but he had a bunch of mason jars. Or mass murder or whatever the fuck. He probably took us over to some dude's house. He's like slaughtering people. Like, oh yeah, come over to my friend's house. He's a vampire. And the funniest part about all this shit is my parents just let me go.
yeah, go for it. Yeah, go get lost for a little bit.
Yeah, the good old days. They were just like, go fuck off and don't come back.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah,
on another story, though, I saw this flyer right online.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it was real or not, but I think I might have saw this dog. Imagine Bruno with a brown toupee. The flyer says, "I lost my bitch ass dog again. He's ugly as fuck and keeps running away, but I still love him. Plus, I already bought him shit, so I don't want to return that stuff. Please bring him back. His name is Senor Wolfers." He probably won't respond to it. He probably won't respond to it because he's a fake little bitch, though. Please contact me at area code 661-440-5950 or at bootyeater6969 at gmail.com. Right on the bottom it says reward $5-ish, maybe.
What the fuck?
It's just this little dog with a brown wig on. A little chihuahua looking dog.
That'd be funny if like there was an ad for a dog and it was like lost my dog. He is tagged. I do not want him back. Do not call me. Give me my dog back. You keep him.
Yeah. Oh my god.
That'd be hella fun.
I read that shit. I just could not stop dying laughing.
Yeah, that's pretty funny. So, you want to wrap this thing up?
Let's send it home, brother.
Alrighty, this is Reality Check Podcast with Mike and
motherfucking Aaron, bitches.
And we out, son.
We out. Later.
Later.